In the 1930s, every family had their own unique qualities, but there were some things that were common among them. What was day-to-day life like back then? What did families do in the 1930s? This video is to answer these questions. During the Great Depression, a typical family would have included a dad, mom, and several kids. The day would start with the dad heading off to work, if he was one of the fortunate ones who still had a job. The mother of the family usually did laundry on Monday mornings. Some families had new labor-saving washing machines, but washing clothes by hand was still common. The clothes were hung out to dry on a clothesline. On Tuesdays, it was time to get the ironing done. Some families had electric irons, but many women still relied on the classic heavy and black flat iron that had to be heated up on the stove. Back in the day, folks used to tune into the radio for some good old entertainment. Radio shows provided families with various kinds of programs to enjoy throughout the day. During the day, soaps would catch the attention of stay-at-home moms. After school, kids tuned into action and adventure programs. And in the evenings, shows that entertained the entire family took center stage. In the olden days, if the family wasn't in the mood for some radio entertainment, they could opt to play a board game. These games were all the rage back in the 1930s. The most iconic and successful board game of all time is undoubtedly Monopoly. This game provided players with the opportunity to buy and sell property using virtual money that made them feel like high rollers. On a Saturday night, it was a common routine for families to hit the stores, if they had the cash to spare. Back in the day, downtown had a wide range of stores, including shoe shops, clothing boutiques, sporting goods outlets, and music emporiums. Most families back then didn't have much money to spare for shopping at those stores. The average take-home pay was around $17 a week, and some earned as little as $7. On the other hand, doctors made about $60 a week. The prices of products reflected the economic conditions. A men's shirt cost about $1. A washing machine could be purchased for about $33. A winter coat might cost anywhere from $18 to $28. A milkshake might cost a dime, and a bag of roasted peanuts could be purchased for a penny. Many families back then didn't have much money, so they couldn't afford the simple things we take for granted today. Going to the barber was a luxury and not an option for many. Instead, families cut each other's hair at home. During those times, families didn't bother with regular dental checkups and only visited the doctor for serious illnesses. Some women even chose to give birth at home to save money. Unfortunately, not all families could afford to go on a shopping spree or buy new clothes. Some had to make do with patching their shoes with rubber from worn-out tires. Even well-to-do families began dressing their kids in hand-me-downs. During the Great Depression, life was tough for many folks. A lot of people were out of work, with a whopping 25% of the population unable to find jobs. During this time, around 13 to 15 million Americans were without work. Those in search of employment were desperate to find a job. Imagine a company posting 6 open positions and receiving over 15,000 applications. That was the reality. During tough times, many people couldn't find work and resorted to hopping on trains to look for jobs in different towns. These individuals, known as hobos, would secretly board boxcars and ride the rails in search of employment opportunities. Many lucky individuals who managed to retain their jobs during tough economic times had to endure a significant reduction in their wages, up to 60% in some cases. A worker who previously earned $1 per hour would now be content with receiving only 40 cents for the same job. All across the country, dads who once held fancy jobs were now rummaging through trash bins to find their family's next meal. During hard times, food was a rarity for many folks. A popular dish during this time was cabbage soup, as meat and veggies became too costly. Some families even had to take turns eating just to make ends meet. Back in the day, some folks in the family chowed down on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, while others grubbed on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Maybe everyone got together for a big meal on Sundays. To save money on heating costs, families would only heat one room of their house. They used various heating sources, like wood, and even corncobs that they found. During tough times, families often shared homes to save money. Some younger kids were sent away to live with relatives in another state, while others as young as 13 were told to hit the streets and find work. Every family had its own story and faced unique challenges during one of the toughest times in American history. Nevertheless, every family pulled together to overcome these hardships.